Last week alone, Moneyball gave away $150,000 in cash prizes. To support the locker room, go to moneyball.com.au and sign up for free today. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm here with Tim Moltzen. How have you been, brother? It's been a while.
Fella. It's been way too long. I'm good. It's good to see you flourishing here with the locker room, mate. I'm very proud. Very proud.
Mate,
good to see.
It's been a roller coaster for myself, and I'm sure it's been a roller coaster for yourself over the last few years.
Yeah, mainly down, but it's been a roller coaster. But yeah, sort of coming through the other side now, I guess you could call it. Yeah.
Kind of that closure of you've announced your retirement and all that kind of stuff. So there's a closure to it?
Yeah, massively, mate. It was a tough little journey there, but at the back end, and I was probably in a little bit of denial towards the end of it as well. But with the words actually coming out of my mouth, it was definitely like just a weight lifted off me, and probably not so much for myself, but once I had the blessing of my wife and then my family and the ones close to me, that definitely helped and gave me a sense of just like, oh, all right, sweet. I'm surrounded by great people and got a good little core group of friends there. So definitely made it a lot easier to make the decision, that's for sure.
And I guess when, it seems like it was a long time coming, but in your mind, 6 months ago, you were playing first grade again. Like, in your mind, that's your goal.
Oh, yeah.
And yet, so when that decision did come, what was it like? What was the thought process? Like, what was the final straw for you when you went, okay, this is becoming a reality, this retirement?
Yeah, like you said, I got thrown the lifeline from Manly and Baz, and mate, I was all systems go. I was like a new kid at school, like just ready to start the first day, and went to Manly and ripped into the pre-season, and it was a bit slow to start with, a few little niggles, but got through that and was sweet. And mate, got through the trials, got through the nines, and then just game time came, and it wasn't the knee to start with. I had dislocated my elbow and just a couple of little niggles and put me back a bit, and then came out, played a game, got through the 80, came off, and the knee was pretty big. And I think I said to you off air, I'd been to the MRI place like 4 times, sort of leading up to that. Yeah. So they wanted to send me for the 5th, and I said, look, it's getting embarrassing.
Yeah.
I've been in there that much that I knock on the back door and go through the back door, don't even go through the front anymore. On terms with the lady, that good. So I go in, get it done, and then send me off to a specialist who was who'd fixed my knee with the staff and everything, a couple of years prior. And it just turns out it was bone on bone, and ultimately left the decision in my hands, but just sort of broke it down for me in terms of quality of life after footy. I'm 27, and with the run that I'd been through, I was lucky and thankful. Couldn't thank Manly enough for the chance they had already thrown me with the way that my body was. So, I had to look at the reality of someone else really picking me up, the time frame of which it would have taken me to get back from another hurdle.
Yeah. And
I was bone on bone, so I can barely keep up with the wife on a walk around, the area. I'm walking, do road walks, and have to walk down hills backwards and stuff. So I'm, yeah, mate, I'm 27 and just married and want to start a family and stuff. So for me, it's about, I've sort of done my time with footy and I absolutely loved it, and straight out of school and straight into it, and I wouldn't change it. Wouldn't change anything really, because it's led me, on a path that, although it was rocky at times, I've met some great people and people I'll definitely still stay in contact with. So, I think I sat down with a couple of mates actually and stewed on the decision. Obviously, one of them being Bowie, who's really close to me, and another mate, Christian, and we had a coffee and sort of weighed up the pros and cons, and then, I guess after we sat there and the words coming out of my mouth, the sense of relief of thinking, oh, well, I don't have to worry about what will I get through the next 80 minutes of footy. And it was getting to a stage where footy was, I was counting down the days for the footy, not so much for the fact that I can't wait to get out there. It was the fact that, I know, I got footy up and I've got to hope I get through the game. You know what I mean? It was more
worried about just getting through it and playing.
Yeah, instead of that feeling of being a kid and can't sleep on Friday night because you want to get up and play footy. And that was the same when I started grade and all of it. So I guess the injury washing with the feeling of sort of losing that love for it or that passion for it.
Dulled the blade a bit. Your blade was a bit dull when it came to footy.
Yeah, so I was tapped out, mate, and I was just wanted to keep trying because I didn't want to give up because I wanted to say, to the kids one day, I'll look back and go, well, if I got through all of that and managed to get back and play a game, well, you can achieve anything, So I wouldn't wish what's happened to like that injury run on my worst enemy, and it was just unpredictable and, when we thought it was going to turn right, it turned left, and it was just...
and I guess
catastrophic.
There's so many factors that you don't really see. I mean, when you're from the outside looking in, you see an injured footy player, but you don't see a guy that was playing some of the best footy in the competition, considered one of the best players in the competition, the form of the competition, going from, that to obviously worrying about contracts, worrying about you're going to get your, obviously you're on a certain amount of money. That was going to be reduced when you were going to go to a new club. And also when you're trying to make your comeback, you're not on the same amount of money you were 3 years ago. You're on an average wage, and an average wage means average compared to most Australians. So you're on a wage that, teachers and that get. So you've got to start thinking, okay, wait a second here. Is this worth all the years I'm putting into? Because it's not really a good investment when you think about it financially and career-wise. So there's so many things that people don't really see. They just think, oh, a guy's just trying to get back to play footy, but they just don't see all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, like you said, it's the footy lifespan isn't that long, and obviously there's a lot more to do in life after footy, and that's a lot more to do with work and in the real world. And I guess I'm only 27, and I feel like I did a lot in terms of footy, but obviously I missed a lot of opportunities. But I'm 27, so I'll probably get the luxury of maybe getting a few years head start on a couple of, boys that, will play till they're 30. I mean, they're lucky enough to play as long as they can, and that's great.
Going into the workforce at 27 is a lot different to 32.
Yeah, I think it is. It just gives me, and that helps with the decision. I think it just gives me that little bit of extra time that I need to adapt. Yeah. You do learn a lot through footy and a lot of life lessons. And I mean, people ask you, what do you do for a living? You're a footy player. Like, how do you put that on a CV? But you learn, how to handle yourself in certain situations. Yeah. You learn how to hold conversations with different people. You learn how to deal with, different hurdles that get thrown up at you, whether it be injury or contract negotiations or, a public backlash or, something in the paper or media.
Pressure, all that kind of stuff.
Everything, yeah. So you do deal with a lot, and you actually don't think that you've gone through or you've learned a lot, but you do get so many life lessons out of footy. And I'm starting to learn that now, that you can relate a lot of the stuff you go through footy into everyday life. It's just about, probably having the confidence to know that you're not just a footy player. Yeah. You've learned a lot more, and be confident in the fact that you have, and then taking that into whatever it is you want to do next.
Yeah, 100%. And also, when the retirement came around, when was the first time it came into your head, maybe I should be... Because, when you first got injured, it would have been I'm injured, I'm going to come back, play footy. And then the second time you got injured, it would have been yeah, all right, bit of a bad run, but I'll come back, I'll play footy. When was the first time when you were like, you know what, fuck this, I'm so sick of fucking getting injured?
Every time I got injured. Mate, like I said, the Manly, going to Manly was no joke for me. It was game on. I trained my ass off before the pre-season, did my own mini pre-season, and I sat down with my wife. We were getting married in October on the Friday, and the Monday was training. So, I even had like maybe 3 beers at my wedding because I knew that Monday it was pre-season, and mate, I was taking it dead serious. Like I'd been through enough of what I thought was my time. My time was going to come for me to be back at my best. And I guess age catches up with you. And then, I was just sort of put to the back of my mind that everything that I've been through, I didn't really realise how much a toll it had taken on my body.
Yeah.
And, you get to that stage where, like, I remember when I was like 20 and you'd go out training and you'd hardly like stretch or warm up. You'd be kicking field goals and mucking around, and then 100%. You'd be the last one off the field doing the same thing. And then, a couple of years down the track, you fast forward and you're like stretching. It takes like 20 minutes to get going. And then, once they blow the whistle to say, all right, finish, you just sort of do a couple of passes, a couple of kicks, just to sort of tell yourself you've done something, and then you walk off and stretch down. So, I guess when you start to feel like that and you lose the fun out of it, and the injuries sort of add to insult, like they're not fun. Like that's just the worst. Like you're sitting on a bike or you're sitting on a rower or staring at 4 walls, and boys are out breathing fresh air and getting sun and on the grass, and you're just like so far away from it. And you know that. And just mentally, it just wears you down to a point where you're just like, fuck, am I going to come out of this? And if I am, when is it? And then you also get to a point where you push the physio to try and, I don't know, come up with some miracle to make something. You recover quicker, or, you're the first person to recover from an ACL in 3 months instead of 6, or, you know what I mean? You're trying to, you're just hoping something happens, but, fuck, mate, it's just, I guess, I mean, your question, I go back to when I sat down with those boys and they put it to me that bluntly.
Oh, yeah, like Bowie.
Like Bowie and Christian, they said, mate, what would you do if you, say, had to finish footy then? And because I had no idea, that was the thing that was, the fear of not knowing what I was going to do scared me enough to keep, like,
hold on longer than you may have.
For me to say, I need to still be playing footy because it was all I knew. And I didn't feel like I had the skill set, or, I just felt uneasy with going out into the workforce and, like, only having footy, like I said, on my CV. And then the more I thought about it, the more I processed it with family and friends, and realised that it was going to be accepted amongst them. And then also having a chat with Baz and the staff at Manly there, like Baz said, he gave me a crack, and he's a gentleman and legend, and I still go in there and train with the boys, and it's not like, for me, I'm retired, I'm like cut off from seeing the boys, because that's probably one of the hardest things, is like, that inner sanctum, or the locker room, so to speak. Like you go in and you train hard and you work hard together, but you're with your mates and you joking 95 or 90% of the time, and having a laugh. So I guess the scary reality of going out into the real world and not having that, and doing what majority of people, everyday people do, work 9 to 5, and we're lucky enough to do the footy stuff. So I guess that was the thing that scared me. And I'm sure it probably scares most guys that haven't really prepared themselves for life after footy, because they're too busy enjoying the ride of footy. So
it's 100% so true. And I guess also when you're playing footy, it's like everything is footy. Like everything, your whole life revolves around footy. Getting the win on the weekend, it's so important. There's so much stuff going on outside of footy. It's that bubble we talk about all the time, just that footy bubble. You just get so caught up in it that when you step outside that bubble, she's cold.
Well, mate, and that's the thing. I think footy, with anything, if you're in, you're 100% in. And people say, why don't you... Like people always say, what are you going to do after footy? And I was like, when I was younger, got no idea. It doesn't even spring to mind, because all I care about at the moment is footy, And
I guess
people might say
it,
that's stupid, but like if you want to be a lawyer, what are you doing outside of that?
Yeah, very true.
You know what I mean? Or if you want to be a lawnmower, a landscaper, what else are you doing outside of that? Like no one goes and does an apprenticeship in landscaping and then goes and does
so true.
You know what I mean?
True. Yeah.
And people never look at it like that.
Yeah.
And we do have the time, and we're lucky in the hours that we work, but people never put it into that perspective of, well, all right, you do this 9 to 5, but why don't you? What are you going to do after that?
Yeah, very true.
You know what I mean?
And most people do change careers as well. Like, so it's not just like they reckon that it's actually healthy to change careers every 10 years.
Yeah.
So you could look at it in the same situation of footy. Like, footy-o's over in 10 years. Your career is probably going to be over in 10 years, and you're going to move on. Very true. Yeah. I didn't really think about it like that. It's very true.
Yeah, and I mean, so that's the thing. I think, like, if you're going to go at something, you put everything into it. Yep. And, that was my philosophy this last year. And, we went all in and it didn't work out. But, mate, I've made some great mates over there at Manly. Yep. Got a great club culture, met a lot of great people. And like I said, I'm still involved with the club. And by no means am I, like, forgotten about it all, Like, if anything, I'm in there around the boys and involved as much, if not, more. So it's just...
The transition's going to be a little bit easier too. It's not like it's the end of the year and it's like, see ya.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. And I think that's the thing I've said to people is because of the horror run I had, it's sort of like I was tapered off footy, you know what I mean, in a sense.
Yeah.
I wasn't, all right, footy's over now. And I'd played like 15 seasons and 30 games a year. And
very true.
Now there's the real world and do your best.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good little thing with the window now. And Manly have been great in the sense that they're really, they're really aware of, the transition that's happening for me. And they're appreciative of the fact that, it is going to be hard. But, if I need a day or two to go and, find my feet at whatever it is I want to do next, whether it be coaching or... sales or whatever it may be, or real estate, just whatever. They're open to the fact that they can give me that time to go and do that, or put me onto someone who, and that's the thing with footy, the networking, mate. Like
the community is ridiculous, and we take it for granted, eh?
Yeah, we do, and everyone's just like, the retirement came out. It was good for it to finally come out and be everyone know about it, because you go to the shops, people are like, when are you back? Are you injured again? Are you this? And me, I knew. We'd made the call a month ago. The
new question for you will be, what happened? What happened, bro? You used to be so good.
Well, what did happen?
Oh, right. I get that question all the time. What happened? What happened to you, bro? You were like mad for a few games and you just disappeared.
Mate, you were killing it on the wing.
Oh, bro.
Mate.
1 year. So anyway, before we go back to your career, what was the darkest time for you? When was the darkest period for you where you were like, this is progressing past just a guy trying to get back to footy to I'm a young man mentally struggling right now with being happy?
Probably 2013, when my patella snapped in half. Mate, that fucking hit me like a ton of bricks, eh?
Yeah.
Like, second ACL Rico, coming back from that.
It was 2011, killed it.
2011 had a great year, dealt with all the negotiation drama. 2012,
okay,
had a great team, didn't make the 8, pressure was on. 2013 was struggling a bit, ACL. 2013, hit the ground running, back doing everything, just running.
Yep.
A normal ACL prevention recovery program. Patella completely snaps in half through the middle from running, taking off. Never been heard of.
Never been heard of. Wow.
Never seen it happen.
So that's going to smash you mentally as well. Like,
how does it happen?
Why to me?
Well,
everyone in the entire world, this has never happened before, and it just happened to me.
apparently it's happened a couple of times, and that's to kids growing with growth plate issues. And I think the day before I'd gone and done like a King Com test where you strap your leg in and test for your hemi strength. And then the next day I was out running, and my kneecap, I had a bit of pain in my kneecap, but we just thought it was because of the patella graft. So we taped across it, got into some drills, did some running, took off, heard it like a tree branch snap. Thinking, fuck, ACL. This is good. This is going to be unreal. Another ACL. Look down. Top half of my kneecaps in my quad. Bottom half of my kneecaps at the top of my shin. And there's a piece of tape just across my knee where there's no kneecap. And I look at the physio and I go, and he's just like, fuck. Mate, don't look at it. And I said, what the fuck? And then anyway, that media had just rocked up. It was pre-season.
Yeah,
like,
I remember.
Just the day. Moltzen goes down. What's new?
We were in a group chat and we all, like, we messaged you, like, because I think Bowie Ryan messaged me and he said Moltzen's just gone down or something like that.
Yeah.
And we were all like, fuck off, because this was it.
Yeah.
This was your back.
And, yeah, mate, and then I couldn't be consoled in the ambo. Just rang family, because obviously they're just want to know. I couldn't even speak. Couldn't speak at all. I was just like inconsolable. Mate, we got into Concord Hospital. They're like, oh, we'll x-ray your leg and see what's wrong. And I was just like laughing, like, what do you reckon's wrong? But anyway, trying to get some pain. The lady missed my like vein about 10 times.
Way. So none of the pain meds worked.
Oh, not for ages. And then I was just like, don't you have those fucking green whistles? And they're like, oh yeah. I said, well, just get them, as many of them as you can.
So you was just sitting in like agony.
Just laying there, yeah. And obviously the boys are still training, so I'm like the side act to like them trying to listen to Mick at the time, who was coaching, Mick Potter, and then I was like, no, it's all right, boys, you'll be right. And then, yeah, little did we know it was just going to be, domino effect after that. So I was lucky in a sense. I had the contract and some security with that till the end of 15. I just re-signed at the end of 12, yeah.
Start of 13.
13, 14, 15. So I'd only just re-signed at the end of that 12 season.
So what are the months like after that for you? Like, what is that for? Like, when do you start becoming positive again, or what was the process of, becoming positive again? Did you do you feel like when that happened, you never really bounced back from that moment? Do you reckon that was the moment, in hindsight, looking back, that you never really fully recovered from, or?
Mate, yeah, it was one of them. I think, like, that definitely broke me, and that broke me because I was on the comeback, so I thought everything's going good and I was fit, healthy and feeling mad. And then when the injuries occur, it's like you think about what's going to be like down the track, you know what I mean? So then how long's this injury going to be? And then how far behind am I going to be because of the injury? So, people say it takes 12 months to recover from an ACL. So it's good because I did mine in April, so I had that, the pre-season, and then like February's trial. So I'm thinking, well, that's a good 10 months, game time under my belt, get some confidence, and then your confidence is just keeps getting delayed and delayed.
Yeah.
And then you just little setbacks, and then so I went in the day after and got like a figure 8 wire put through my knees, just like they figure 8 it, and it just mends it back together. And then after that, took some time, and it's just because you're in a straight leg cast, no weight bearing, quad goes like muscles, just everything. So you got to start from scratch all over again. Build that one leg, and then your body's out of whack because you're using your right side more than your left, and it's
you're on heavy pain meds as well. So
mate, and that becomes another
demon to battle.
Well, yeah.
Because like, no matter what you do in your position, especially like same with like Jarrell Yaya, like, you know, it was such a horrific incident. It's not like you can be like, I'll take these for 2 weeks and then she'll be sweet. You need to take them for a long period of time to even think about coming back.
Mate, and like the anti-inflams and stuff, like it's ongoing. And like that will be ongoing for me. Like pain meds or like, you know, like a couple of Panadol in the morning to get out of bed. And I'll speak to like Dan Ferris, who's a sports science guy at Manly, and he's got no cartilage in both knees. And he's like, mate, just lives on Panadol Ostia, and it's the only thing that gets him through the day.
Yeah.
That and about 10 coffees, but anyway, and chaos is good, but anyway, yeah, mate. So it's like it's the injury, and then it's like, yeah, you're on pain meds, and then it's like you're bedridden, and then
not around the boys,
and then you're in a rehab, and you're inside all the time, and you're not outside, so you're like getting sickly pale, and people think you're like not eating, and you're losing weight, and then just all that stuff. And you're on at different times to the boys, and you're getting physio, and you get 2 lots of physio a day, and you know, there's times where you're like you don't get massage because you're not in the team, like just little things like that, mate. Like it's petty, but
it still means something.
To you because you're part of the team, and then you're like not getting massage, and then you're not getting tickets to games, and you know what I mean. Like your family used to come to the games, and then now you're injured, they don't get to go and hang with other family members.
You're no longer
because you're no longer a part of it.
Yeah.
So you're injured. So over there,
yeah.
And then when you're not, let us know, and you can come back, and we'll give you some tickets, and
even then, you know when you where you were, unless you start, you've got to earn that back. You got to play back to that spot. Then they'll give you what you were out there instead of just keeping it up. You know,
and that's the sad thing, and the shit thing that I realised, like going through all of that, is that they say, yeah, we're here for you, and like they don't have control of, like, yeah, they have to do the scheduling the way they do, and I'm not saying like, you know, build everything around the rehab boys, definitely. Because it's a smaller group. Impossible. You don't want anyone in rehab, and you know, it's out of everyone's control. But at the same time, like, you get injured doing that for the team. Like, you're trying to compete for the team. So, like, don't seclude, like, the family or, like, you know what I mean? Like, their family's going through it just as much as they are. Like, bring them in. Like, let them hang out with the other families and then talk about it. Like, because they've probably got similar stories. Like, you know, he's got the shits because he had an injury. Oh, yeah, well, Tim's the same. Like, and what could you do to get him out of it, or you know what I mean, like, and
also if you're mentally happy still, your recovery is going to be quicker anyway. I totally agree.
And the stuff away from home impacts heavily on your mood going into training. So I mean, that's the thing. It's just like you can't escape it, no matter how you try,
mate. People will never understand how hard rehab is. And, you know, obviously there are so many more harder things in the world. And
there are.
I mean, like I said, but it is tough. But anyway, to your career, it was a quality career. So, you know, that's something that you can kind of look back on and say, at least you made an impact. At least you weren't just another number that came in and whatever. So, you know, when, you know, growing up, you said that it was always footy. You know, you always wanted to play footy. So obviously, when you were growing up, were you always sure that you had were you a gun player as a kid, or you just worked your ass off, or what was it?
Mate, as a kid I was talented, but I just rested on that.
Yeah, okay.
Didn't think I had to do anything more, or and you know, I wasn't very tough. I was just wanted to be pretty and stuff, you know. But I did love footy. And then it got to the stage where, you know, you get to like 14, 15, boys are getting a bit bigger and people are growing up quicker than others and all that sort of stuff. And I never made any rep team, didn't make any Central Coast rep teams.
Oh, really?
Yeah, tried out for one and never made it. So that knocked me. Confidence, mate. That's the thing.
Mate, so was it skill-wise you didn't make it, or was it because you weren't willing to do those tough things?
Probably because I wasn't tough enough.
Yeah.
I was skillful, but I wasn't tough, mate. I wasn't like diving on loose balls type thing, you know, wanting to get into the nitty gritty.
Yep.
Yeah, it wasn't just wanted to be a pretty dinner suited type thing.
Yep. Which works. There's positives to that too. Like a lot of people they'd knock the whole finesse in the game, but finesse in the game there's so much that comes out of guys not wanting to get into contact when it comes to being a better ball player. Skills rise because you don't want to get into that. So. That can also be a positive in some sense.
It can, but I think also, you have to find a happy medium there too. And being halves, because I'd never played fullback until that year in 2009 when I...
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was always in the halves, and then it took for me, I got kneed in the head in a local game when I was 17. Did a drop kick, chased it. It sort of hit the mud and skipped back. So I sort of shanked it, skied it, and I was like, fuck, got to get after this ball because it's going to land. Yep. Yeah, and I was like, it's my fault if they get it. And I ended up with the ball somehow.
Yeah.
And then someone ankle tapped me from behind, and the front row was already ready to hit it up. So he was charging at the ball. And as I've been ankle tapped, I fell. And just boom, knee to the head. Out. 2 minutes.
Really?
Out. Gossie Hospital. Sent home, all clear.
Yeah.
A week later, my man goes, "Oh, how's the head feeling?" I said, "It's all right. Just got this little dent. It's just a bit weird."
Yeah.
Went to a GP. He's like, "Mate, you'll go to North Shore." That next day, I was having a depressed skull fracture.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were tough, just didn't you got to be tough to cop a friggin' depressed.
Yeah,
skull fracture.
Didn't know it at the time, but it was... so that was pretty horrific, pretty full on. I was told I was never going to play footy after that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I had to...
So you've been dealing with this since fucking...
Mate, it was pretty... That was 17, so I was in North Shore for a week. Mad little zipper down, 22 staples down the side here. And then out of footy for a year.
Wow, at 17, that's an
17, and that was it for me. That got me going.
Oh, okay, because you wanted it.
Mate, I wanted it so bad. I had a mate up there. Had a mate on the coast, Sharpie, who was playing local. He was a year older than me, but he was playing at Newcastle Knights, SG ball and stuff. And I was always admired that he was doing that, and I was playing local league, so I wanted to aspire to do that.
Yep.
And then Central Coast brought in a team, so the next year was going to be an SG ball. So I was like, I'd go pick him up in the morning on a bike, and we'd ride up hills for fitness and go for road runs. At 6 before school, and then go to school. And
so you would train before school?
Before school, yeah.
Wow.
Wake up 6, go train with him, and then we'd go to school after, and then obviously train with an arvo, go for a kick or whatever, and do that 2-3 days a week.
Oh wow, that's
just
cool.
Just had that burning desire to want to come back and then prove it to myself that I was tough, I guess, because I'd never been picked in anything. And then made the SG ball side, and we were sort of Central Coast new team, never going to win a game. I remember, and then we played Illawarra first game, and I ended up going right, scored 3 tries.
Yep.
And they had these had been called to the principal's office at school at Terrigal High.
Yeah.
And I was never really that bad. It was the first time I was ever been called to the principal's office. And I was like, what have I done? I'm not a smart ass, but not that bad.
Not principal's office bad.
Yeah, not that bad. Not
bag.
smoking down the back bad. And I had a message left such and such manager rang, and I was like, what do you mean? They're like, some manager wants to meet with you. I'm like, what about? Footy manager, I don't know, you got to call him. So I was went with Dad. I was like, some blokes run the school. And then it just snowballed from there, mate. Ended up having meetings with managers, and then I guess that was when I sort of a bit of club interest and meeting with clubs, and I was like, wow, this could actually happen here.
Yeah.
And then, ended up making a decision to go to Tigers, and just all snowballed from there. Got my chance in 2008 and never looked back.
Man, it's it's so mental to think that you've been fighting this same fire of injuries, and it seems like it's been the fuel. It was been the fuel.
Had I not done that, I would have, because I'm a cruisy type guy and sort of just go with the flow type thing. If it happens, it happens, and if it doesn't, well, it's not meant to be type thing, you know. When it was sort of thought that it was going to be taken from me. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to do everything I can, and then even if that's not good enough, then at least I know I've had a crack. And that's where that's what this year was for me.
Yeah.
It was that similar sort of sense when I was 17.
Yeah.
10 years later, so it's quite ironic.
That's crazy. It's so I didn't even know that when you mate for years.
Yeah.
Okay, so you choose to go to the Tigers and you make your debut in 2008. What's the phone call like? Was it expected? Did you expect a phone call? Did you slowly earn your way in, or was it just a random call and you're starting?
So we I wasn't in the top 25 because obviously the top 25 was when you were like, all right, you're in the
you're going to get a start this year.
Yeah, you're going to get a game. Yeah. I remember there were a few young ones like myself and Ashford, Matty Ryan at the time. There were a few of us that were like training with first grade, but sort of not in the top 25.
Top 30.
Top squad, yeah, whatever you want to call it. And then, I was doing a few positions, training like here, there, and everywhere, and a bit at centre. And I think Sheensy I was tall and had some speed and stuff, so he sort of like he liked that fact, and I was game aware. I just sort of knew it was competitive and sort of just couldn't read the game. And just a footy player, and he was very. Mate, he loved footy, lived and breathed it.
That's your 2006. You won it 2005.
2005, the boys won it. 2006, I finished year 12. 2007, I played Premier League jersey flag. So
you were still considered that kind of small, mobile footy team in that period. You know what I mean? It was still it's changed now. You could still argue that it's the same, but Tigers were that footy team, the footy players. So.
Mate, yeah, and there was always that style of brand of playing footy, like shifting, and we were never the biggest side, but we're probably a bit reliant on the speed and skills, which Sheensy was big on and proved to work, countless times.
And the wrestle came in and
chilled
you.
Yeah, but so 08, I trained all the way up and 20s came in that year too, actually.
Yeah, 20s was in there.
So,
maiden year of 20s.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Toyota Cup was in, and I remember Sheensy saying he loved to carry a 14. Sheensy loved to carry a outside back, like a utility. And I just so happened to fit the mould. So he said to me, mate, you're going to debut against the Dragons at the SFS, 08. I was like, sweet.
Ironic.
I know. Family could come. Mate, it was... Sun was out, Sunday Arvo footy.
Oh, beautiful.
Does it get any better?
Oh, that smell of that fresh grass.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful.
SFS, mate, March. And I was just like, how good's this? Sit on the bench for 15. Hopefully the boys are winning. I can go on and just get tackled and tackle someone or touch someone. And,
smile at the camera.
Yeah. Benj does his medial or something.
Oh, no.
First 15. Yeah, Benji Marshall. Knee. First 15. Mulch you up. I'm like, what? Mulch, you're in. I'm like, yeah, but I haven't trained at 5'8" the whole week. I'm meant to be going on at centres with 15 to go. Nah, you're in. I was like, fuck, rightio.
Were you playing 5'8" in reserve grade or fullback?
Oh, no, at this time I'd played 5'8" Premier League the year before.
Yeah.
But again, as I said, I just moved around because I was a utility guy.
Yeah, okay. So you were utility in reserve grade as well?
Reserve grade, well, in the 20s I was playing 5'8".
Yeah.
So that was that year, 08.
Yeah.
And then because I was at utility, Sheensy was like, carrier, because you can play a bit of centre. And so the plans was to bring me on at centre.
Easy into the game.
Yeah, and because I think Huller was playing centre at the time, and then he could move into back row type thing. There was no easing me into the game, mate. You're in there, 5'8". I was like, wow, welcome to first grade. So Dragons, mate, I was in Gaznia.
2008, they were a good side too.
Yeah, Waymans, Gaznia and Soward. Mate, they were a good side.
Yeah, Nathan Brown was the coach, wasn't he? This
was
the year before Wayne went.
Yeah. Morris boys.
Yep. Cooper.
Yeah, Cooper.
Yep.
Mate, good side. We beat him.
Really? No.
Farah puts a kick in, I score, bounces off somewhere, ricochets, and I'm there and dive on it, score on debut, and we win, mate.
Nice.
Best ever.
Yep.
Next week, played 5'8", started because Benj was out for a bit, so it was my first week named at 5'8". Go to Townsville, beat them, score.
Wow.
Gets Thurston and those guys up there in Townsville on a Saturday
Massive.
night. I'm thinking, how good is this?
Yeah.
And then the thing is, you got to be consistent week in, week out. And then I wasn't. I faded away, burnt out, young,
as
just
young
couldn't keep
guys
up.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not many young halves or forwards that come in and play consistent footy.
424 rounds. Yeah.
No
it's
way.
hard to do. So sort of just learnt my trade. 10 games of first grade, 10 games of Toyota Cup. Then Hodjo was there. Hodjo leaves. Sheensy came to me and said, mate, I want you to try fullback at the back end of 08. See if you like it. Took to it pretty well.
You seem to kind of have that, because that was the ball playing fullback was starting
Yeah, it just
to come
started
in a
to
bit.
change a little bit, yeah. So it was sort of like that third half. Just get used to standing under some bombs, and then you got to be that last line of defence. So you got to body on the line type thing and sort of try and come up with the play, which sometimes it works, sometimes you look like a dickhead. So it's just, but mate, throw. I love that.
Yeah.
And Sheensy and Royce there, and they were like, really good and learnt so much. And even from Hodjo 08, he taught me a lot because he was going and he put a bit of time into me, sort of like grooming me as well. And then people always say, oh, why didn't you stick at the halves as well? But because there was a stat going around, I hadn't lost a game at halves there with Benji. And,
there was a quote from Tim Sheen saying that yous would be the fastest halves combination in the comp over 80 metres, which is a fair point. Yous would have been fucking lightning.
Yeah, so that was a plan going into after 11. I thought that year we had the run
So you went 2009, 10 and 11. You still hadn't cemented a spot. You were still coming in and out of first grade?
So 9 I was starting, like regular starter, started 22 games by dislocated elbow.
Yep.
And I was fullback and halfback.
Okay.
And then 2010 I was fullback, started the year fullback, and then moved into halfback.
Yep.
ACL. 2011, coming back from ACL, utility guy, fullback. Finished the year at fullback.
So what made you? Why were you even entertaining the idea of the Dragons then? So now we're going to talk about this was probably the first huge contract drama I'd ever seen in NRL. I'd never seen a contract drama of like something's been signed, not going, something hasn't been signed, is going. I'd never seen anything like it. So yeah, why were you even considering going to the Dragons? What was the reason for that?
I think at the time I was frustrated with my position because I'd come back from an ACL. I thought it was going to be like the way I hit the ground running in 2010. Like, mate, it was like, boom, like footy was like I was playing, like not to be arrogant, but like good felt like I was playing really good footy, and I was fast and felt like lean, like strong, and just everything was working.
Explosive,
and everything was just working, and like coming off a good year in 09 to missing like a full year in 10. And then did the full pre-season, rolled my ankle before the trials, so tore the ligaments and missed all the trials.
Oh, man.
So I couldn't put any trial form together. So Sheensy put me on the bench, and I was playing 14, but I'd come on for like 10 minutes at the back end of a game. And just struggled with the fact that I wasn't getting much game time, and that was no fault of anyone's. I just couldn't, with the time in the game... 10 minutes, it wasn't enough time for me to find my feet or
you weren't really getting anything,
coming up with anything, and we were losing, and it took for, and I felt like, and I think that utility thing had frustrated me. Like I was like, I just want to play in the one spot and focus on that.
I was going to say, like, because you'd been going between fullback and half,
and it's
you never
hard
really got a chance to lock her in.
Yeah, and it's hard enough to play one position, and like you got to be kicking at halves and. Or fullback, you've got to worry about who's kicking or, like, placement and where you got to be and out the back and up the middle and support. So it was just sort of trying to juggle it all. And, not to say I didn't enjoy it, because I did. And I was just loving footy at the time. So throw me anywhere, I'm going to play. And then 11 got to that point where I was like, wasn't playing good footy. So I felt like, oh, shit, maybe... if I know that I'm going to play in one spot and then I get that opportunity and someone says to me, yeah, you can just play run.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Hone in on that and then just work my ass off at being the best fullback I could be.
Yeah.
We had Wade McKinnon at the time at the Tigers, so he was a good fullback.
He was playing ridiculous.
Yeah, and he was playing good, and I was, again, the floater. Like, if a centre was able to go to centre or we needed a 14, I'd be 14.
And I guess in your mind, you'd be thinking, like, I haven't been given the opportunity to cement a spot. You never give me the chance to. Like, I play good wherever you put me, but you're not giving me that time to just give me that spot.
Yeah, so, again, and, like, there is a bit of that going on as well. So you sort of play the blame game, and you're like, well...
Yeah, look, hindsight, you look back and you're like, man, I should just shut up and just kind of whatever. But when in the time, it's still so much different in your head.
Mate, and then, so that all came out, and then it was like, I was like, all right, well, I need to just get on with whatever I'm doing. And then Wado got injured, so I hurt his hammy, I think. And then, mate, I started playing some of the best footy I'd played. You know, the back end of 11, and not a worry in the world, and things were going great, and that's when... you're playing around good guys and you're comfortable where you're living and you've got a missus that's in Sydney and you're thinking about what's going to happen next and we're going to have to move and then all those sorts of things and you're 21 and you're not ready for that, mate.
Yeah.
And I wasn't ready for that and I jumped at a decision without thinking. Like, I was still contracted to 2012 anyway.
Yeah.
At the Tigers. So I wasn't coming off contract at 11. So I had to be released from the Tigers. So that was the thing.
So did you go to them and say, can I get a release? And they said yes, and then you went to Dragons, or what happened?
Well, there was talk at the time that they were sort of like, well, you can have a look around, and if something comes up and we think that...
So they said that to you? They said...
I had permission to look around.
Yeah.
But knowing full well that if they weren't comfortable with what was going to happen, it wasn't going to go ahead, which is pretty... shitty because
they're kind of saying
even if
we're not keen on you, but
you can go look around, but then if you start killing it or you're going all right and we've got you on that sort of money, then we're gonna sort of get in your way and stop it type thing, if you know what I mean. Which
is shit form. Like, I mean, like from my perspective, obviously it's different. Like, but like to say to a player, we aren't interested in keeping you, but we're not going to release you if we don't feel like it. It's outrageous. Like, imagine if you said to a club, I'm going to look elsewhere, and if I'm not happy with it, I might stay, I might not stay. I'll let you know. I'll let you know down in the... You know what I mean? Like, that would never ever happen.
Yeah.
And yet, for a club to say to you, we're not keen on you. We actually don't rate you, and we're really going to get rid of you. But we might not get rid of you if we feel like it. I mean, that's fucked.
And I think so. That hurt me. And the thing that I wanted to come back and kill it and start playing good footy, and then that happened because I had that little fire lit in me.
Yeah.
And then because that happened and, like, they knew the circumstances, like, I lived with Benji at the time and, I loved the area I was living in and my girlfriend lived in the area and was from there and wasn't going to be moving, wherever with me. And she's my wife now, so, it all worked out, whatever. Yeah. But my family's on the Central Coast, so that's a little bit further and my mates and... You know what I mean? Starting all over again, that scary thing, or do you stay where you know because you know it?
Yeah.
And then, we got knocked out that year, and I thought we were going to win the grand final. Like, truthfully, I actually thought that was going to happen, and we'd beat everyone leading into semis, and we beat the Dragons on a Friday night. We played the Warriors the next week, who were beaten by 40 up at Brisbane. And we were sort of already packed our bags for Melbourne the next week, and then the Warriors beat us. And that was it. That was my time at the Tigers done. Yeah. I thought that was it. It's all over.
Yep.
Crying in the sheds and going to the after-match function afterwards, like just the end-of-year things, and then some stuff happened behind the scenes, like Rob Louis got released and freed up some cash, and like my letter of release hadn't been signed upon, and
so the Tigers had agreed to release you. They just hadn't signed the papers.
Hadn't been signed, yeah.
So they verbally had agreed to it.
Yeah.
And so you everything was done and dusted with the Dragons. They thought you were coming 100%.
Yeah.
And so you went to the Tigers. They said, "Yep, sweet, we're going to release you." They just didn't sign the papers.
Yep.
And then Louis leaves, money frees up.
Louis leaves, money frees up. I have people in my ear. I'm 21. I fear the fact that I'm going to move somewhere that I don't know, to a new team, unfamiliar, have the opportunity to stay in a place that I know and I'm comfortable, and, family's around and girlfriend's around, and I was playing good footy, so it worked for me. And it's probably one of those things that why change what's working.
Yeah. Whereas if you were playing bad, you probably would have been like,
I need to. Mate, and I was young.
Yeah.
Like, looking back, and hindsight's a wonderful thing, and mate, and it was hard. Like, it was played out in the media, and and I wore it, and it was hard, mate. It was hard, like hard.
Yeah.
And this was the days of like Twitter was starting up, and
you would have never have dealt with such an intense negative,
mate, never.
Media.
And you got no training for that, and mate, it was heavy.
There's not many people that have ever dealt with that intense negative
scrutiny,
media.
mate. It was on the back page of the paper. It was. I remember we flew out to Vegas for footy trip with a few of the boys, and sitting there, and I'm on the back page of the paper, just like all these headlines and quotes that were never said, and all this stuff, and it was just like, yeah, mate, it was just very Chinese whisperish, like things that were written and printed, and mate, and then I was over in Vegas actually, and I remember just having conversations with my manager what was going to happen, and we thought that like the NRL might have said that I'd be forced to sort of go, and then I thought that was going to be a bit hard because I'd already been a little brat about it, in the sense that I wasn't man enough to make a phone call and go about it the right way.
Yeah.
So I sort of felt like I'd already burnt the bridge there. So it was
with the Dragons, or
with the Dragons.
Okay. But at this stage, they still think you're coming, though, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah. Well, I just left that in my manager's hands, obviously.
Okay.
Yep. For them and the Tigers, and then the Dragons to deal with, and then it was our off season.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought I was going to come back and it'd all be sorted, but it was far from that. Come back, and I had to go and have a meeting with manager and like Peter Dowse, and face to face with him, and they had a 3-year contract sat there for me, and it was just sort of like, mate, like, it's here, and I had to admit my wrongdoing and just say, look, mate, I fucked up here, and I'm sorry, like, I should have happened. Well, it shouldn't happen, for one, but it did, and like, I can't change it.
Yeah.
And people have got their views on it, and I did it for my own reasons, and it's selfish, and some people might say, look at the karma, like, look at the things that sort of ended up happening and the way it all sort of turned out. But
your body's your body.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the decision was made, and I was comfortable with it, and I was happy to wear whatever I was going to wear.
Yeah. So when the decision came for you to stay with the West Tigers, did they give you an option to even leave? Like, as in, were they going to release you for 2012, or were they actually?
It was sort of. It was in my hands to an extent, but also they'd lost Rob Louis as well, so it was probably in their best interest to keep me there, obviously, okay. And then...
So kind of pressured a little bit, but in saying that, ultimately you could have left if you wanted to.
Yeah, I could have left, but and the thing is too, like, with me having an injury or a couple of injuries too, you want security.
Yeah, very true.
And the security that was offered was longer than what was going to be offered at.
Okay, yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I had to look at it like that.
Yep. Tough decision for maybe a safer ending for yourself, kind of thing.
Yeah. So that's the way I looked at it. Was like, it's a job for 3 or a job for 4. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, and it's guaranteed. It's not like you're not
playing
for matches anymore, or you're not
Yeah, you've got a
It's
decent living.
And that's coming in. You're seeing that every month. So that plays into it too, mate. So,
well, who knows? Like, you could have gone and got injured and not had that extra year of your contract.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it could have been worse for you.
Yeah, could have been, yeah. And the thing of it too is, like, contracts are all back-ended. So, like, 09 and 10, I started to play good. Like, back of 09, I renegotiated. And 12 was my day. Like, 12 was my year. Like, everything had snowballed into that year. So it was a big, like, payday. Like, it was good money for me at the time. And that was on my mind too. I was like, well, work my ass off to get to that stage where I could be in a position to be earning that money. And then I was going to take a hit to go, but I was willing to for footy to get games, obviously. And then...
But footy was already taking care of itself.
It eventually did. And then I got that sort of
same
put
thing
in
happened
your
to me
face.
with the Warriors. You know, I agreed way too quick for way less money. And, like, it, you know, pretty much ruined my career. Like, I probably should have done what you did. I could have stayed at the Broncos because I didn't sign anything. I just agreed verbally, and I didn't. And and it smashed my career. So you got to look at it from both angles. You know, like, if I had stayed at the Broncos, I'd probably still be playing NRL now. But because I didn't have the fucking, you know, to stay, so it's I think
it's and you say you didn't have the probably, like, the balls to, like, make the decision. Like, it wasn't like I made the decision, but it was influenced as well. You know what I mean? So I had, like, people around me that were sort of almost like
pushing it.
Yeah, like, it's a good decision to stay. Like, you've got, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, yeah, it is, and it's like sort of had their backing. You know what I mean? Like, so I knew.
I guess the Tigers refusing to sign a release is a good example of someone going, we're not, you know, you should stay. Like, you know what I mean? They
it is. Even though I wore all the shit in the media.
Oh, bro, it's crazy. I mean, it was crazy. And that's a shit thing. Is like you'll always wear the shit, even though there were guys that knew better, that were much older and much more experienced, telling you certain things that they knew better than that. You didn't know better, and that's the difference. You didn't know any better. You're a young kid just trying to do the right, like, what's good for. And there's the older guys that did 100% know better, and they still were telling you, no, it's just, you know.
Mate, and it would happen, and it'll happen forever. Just kids be taken advantage of, and the offer, anything.
Yeah.
Mate, get everything in writing. It's expensive lesson I've learned.
Oh, bro.
Everything. Get everything in writing, so then you've got proof. Because if you don't have that piece of paper, your word means
shit.
Fuck all.
I know all about that, don't worry. And that is something else that people didn't realise. There were certain things promised by the Tigers that didn't eventuate. Possibly.
Possibly.
And so that's another...
doesn't happen in NRL, does it?
That never happens. It never happens.
Stuff off the book.
That's another thing that, like, that never gets released. Like, it never gets released
No.
You know, it never gets released that you're promised all these crazy things that no one would be able to say no to. You know?
That's the other thing too is, like, you go back to the injury and because you're injured, like, if you're killing it and playing good footy and they'd promise you that, and you're like, you got some leverage.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you're going to get what you were promised.
Yeah, but because you're injured.
But you're injured and you're sitting down there in the rehab room and it's costing us $5,000 of surgery every time you...
Bitter at you.
Yeah, and you're like, you haven't played for 2 years.
Got no leverage.
Can't remember what we agreed on.
Oh, exactly, mate.
Mate.
You were speaking my language, trust me.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And people got no idea about that.
Yeah, like, and it's like, if you're playing good footy, they'll bend over backwards and treat you like a king. But if you get injured playing for them, putting your body on the line, and there's certain things they've agreed to, all of a sudden, people have some short memories.
Oh, don't they? And you think they're your mates.
Oh, bro. I know. You would die. You would have died from 6 months ago. You literally would have went out on that field and died. Oh, mate.
You get back-ended to keep people. You think you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. Oh, it's just, yeah. It's.
Or you take hits to keep, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, bro.
Oh, if we give that, we can't keep so-and-so. Well,
if you take this now, next year you'll get a longer this, or you get a longer that, and then all of a sudden the coach is no longer there.
Or what about that? Oh, no, I wasn't here.
Yeah,
or the CEO's swapped. Oh, I wasn't in charge. Didn't really know about that.
Mate, yeah. And these are like things that would affect your life so dramatically that
mate.
Oh.
It's like, 100%. You go from a something that you don't pay for, like something that a necessity, something you use every day that you're relying upon, and then you think you're guaranteed it. Next thing you know, circumstances change, and that's gone out the window because there's no proof of it.
Oh.
And then you're like,
mate, I had to get
got
a
to put
second
your
job.
hand in your pocket.
I had to get a second job. I was working at a bar whilst playing first grade.
That's reality, mate.
That's the reality of footy.
Sucks, eh?
And no one ever sees it. They never see it.
That's why I like this show.
Yeah, the locker room, bro. It's a metaphor for the reality of what these players are really like. And I guess let's talk about some positivity.
Yeah.
What are some positive memories? When you look back on footy, what is a memory that sticks in your mind where maybe the Tigers were playing really well, or a game that you had, or what's some positive things that you can remember?
Back end of 11, couldn't beat us. I don't know what it was. It was like you go into games with that like air of confidence, sort of just like.
What was your team? It was Farah. Benji was still there.
Yeah, so it was like myself at fullback. We had like Ashford and Lawrence in the centres. Matty Utah and Lottie on the wings.
Oh, okay, yep.
Rob Louie and Benji in the halves. And then you had guys like Bryce Gibbs, Farah, Toddy Payton, Liam Fulton,
that's a good
Heinington, Gaz Ellis.
Oh, wow, that's a good
mate.
forward.
And then we had guys like Andrew Fafita.
Oh, yeah, Fafita.
Off the bench.
Oh,
Dwyer back then.
Was Bo Ryan still there?
Bo Ryan, yeah. So,
and
mate,
he was playing good footy then,
yeah,
too.
he was.
I was a Bowie doubter.
Yeah, well, many people were.
When he first started, I was like, man,
there's not much to him.
What's going on? Like, what's going on? He doesn't really offer anything special. And then...
Solid. Very solid.
Then he came out and started doing friggin' 40 hit-ups a game, running for like 200 metres, never dropping a ball, scoring ridiculous tries. And I ate my words. I was like, mate, he's a gun. And I was from I think maybe 10, maybe even 9 onwards, maybe 10 onwards. I was like, this guy is ridiculously good as they say. And also, what I loved about it, he was good because he worked hard.
Like,
you know what I mean? He
fittest bloke there.
Exactly.
He wasn't skilled. He just worked hard. He worked hard on his skills.
Yep, exactly.
And then he became skillful.
Exactly.
Backed himself. But mate, we just had that team. We won games no matter what. Like, I remember we played Cronulla round 26 and we were already in the semis, but it was sort of to make 6th or 4th, or the difference between that. And it was Cronulla's last game, nothing to lose. They're out of the comp.
Yep.
And mate, we were down. Somehow we come back and won the game. Like, we had nothing. We were like,
just because your attack was so good,
mate. Yeah, we were like flat Saturday night. It was just like we knew we'd already made it. So what's the point of the game?
It's a nothing game.
Yeah, but somehow, and then the next week we come out and beat the Dragons, and that was like, we're on here.
So was that 2011?
11, yeah.
So Wayne was still. That was the year after they won it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was that was a good year, and then mate, I had some good games in 09. I remember the game. We lost it actually, but we played that year. Para had that run in 09.
Where Jared Hayne was literally probably the best footy I've ever seen a footy player
Could not touch
play.
him. I remember I was at fullback, and he at the start of the game I got an inside ball and Hindmarsh come from like marker and blindsided me, smashed me, and like I didn't know, but like I'd fractured my collarbone at the time.
Oh really?
So this was like about 20 minutes into the game.
Ugh, yuck.
So I'm at fullback, like the last line of defence, sort of knowing that anyway. I think he got needled at half time and then come out. And remember, game was on the line. It was when Benji stepped someone and flicked the ball behind his back to Ashford because Danielle had snapped his ankle.
Oh.
Yeah, like a real bad one. He's another one, man.
He never got taken care of by anyone.
No one.
It was literally, see ya, Simon Dwyer.
Just ridiculous,
What's with the Tigers boys just getting fucking shafted?
Mate. Cursed. And Hainsey chips over the top, and I was like, sort of, where's this going to bounce? And I thought it was going to bounce one way, so I'd already predicted what way it was going to bounce.
Yep,
and it's bounced like, Hainsey's like running there, I'm thinking it's going to bounce here, and then if it goes to me, I'm gone. And it goes, bounce, like kicks to the right, lands in Hainsey's like lap, and I'm stood there like that and just like watch him go by and score under the post.
Was that the one where he like caught it out like mad?
Yeah, he
like,
batted it up type thing, and I was like,
"Oh no, you're gonna be in the highlight reel forever."
Yeah, and I am. That's where Jared Haynes chips over and it bounces over my head, and Hainsey scores, and I was just like, mate, there was like 40,000 there or something. It felt like that. It was packed.
Mate,
packed.
Hainsey, at his peak, he was ridiculous.
Freak, mate.
I remember his debut wearing these shit long bike pants. And he was just this skinny out.
That was when he was playing Origin and that too, in the big long bike pants.
And he was number 2, mate. When he's on, he is footwork fast, strong, everything.
So strong,
there's
so
no
big,
weakness.
mate.
And can ball play.
Yeah,
it's bullshit and it's unfair.
And the confidence too, that air of confidence, backs himself.
Growing up, did you have any players that you kind of idolised as a player?
I was a big Bears fan when I was growing up, but I didn't really have like a specific player. And then obviously guys like your Johns and your Fittlers. I did like Matt Sears actually.
Sears.
He was my favourite.
I don't even know who that is.
Fullback for the Bears.
I apologise. I didn't like a soccer player.
Yeah.
Ethnic soccer player.
So I didn't even know what that was.
Yeah.
Soccer.
What about I guess what's one of the toughest memories that you've kind of either witnessed or been a part of, or like maybe seen
through
a player?
Footy?
Yeah, seen a player like play on with a friggin' one of the boys played with Fensom, played with a lacerated kidney, stuff like that.
Yeah. Mate, there wouldn't be a footballer that get like doesn't play a game where they've ever got a needle in them or something broken or something strained or.
If you're getting through a season without playing with something that would usually sideline someone, you're not having a dig.
Mate, it's
impossible.
You got to play tough, and that's just the reality of it, But mate, there wouldn't be a team that's got like a whole team 100% fit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, mate, everyone I've played with is tough as nails. Far out, but the thing I hated seeing was because I remember Taniela was my winger when I was at fullback, and I passed the ball to him when he broke his leg.
Yeah.
So I feel sort of like not responsible, but but it was just like I know it happened right near me, and it was just like I lived with him, so that hit pretty close to home. And then seeing the way that it sort of all unfolded for him.
Yeah.
He was getting thrown big money. He's Dally M Winger of the Year.
He was unstoppable. Leading
try scorer with like 4 games to go.
Yeah.
And that's just a sad story, man. And then it just makes me realise that, I'm going to be able to walk around with the kids and, have a play and that. And then, and then you look at Simon Dwyer and, like, Alex McKinnon and stuff like that. It just...
puts in perspective.
It does. It puts things into perspective and just makes you realise... although things didn't work out the way you wanted them to, you're lucky enough to have some sort of a story there. So,
all right. We'll just finish it up. I think that's still recording. All right, we'll just finish it up because we've been going way over time, bros. It's been good. Brother. But favourite rapper and favourite movie of all time?
Rapper, Drake.
Yep.
Favourite movie of all time? I'll go Dumb and Dumber. I don't know why.
All right, brother. Thank you so much. It's been so good. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Legend, Kempy. Do it for you anytime, mate. But congratulations. It's a great setup, man. I'm proud of you. So,
thanks, brother. Thank you.
Always good and good to watch. Hope people like it.
You.
Good.
Last week alone, Moneyball gave away $150,000 in cash prizes. To support the locker room, go to moneyball.com.au and sign up for free today.